So I'm introducing Jason Call, who is a teacher and activist for justice. Hello, Jason.
All right, good afternoon, LaConner. It's an absolute pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me. I want to thank the 10th LD Democrats for putting on such a tremendous event. And I recognize also, and importantly, that we are on the ancestral lands of the Swinomish people, and we honor their stewardship. I want to thank the Swinomish tribe for providing the wonderful salmon for this barbecue, and I especially want to thank everyone for attending and the work that you do supporting putting good Democrats in office, whether it's knocking doors, phone banking, donating, or just showing up and giving a damn. You are the ones who are doing the legwork and putting the effort in to make these wins possible. And I would like to add that being the ones who are doing the often thankless work, you're all in a very powerful position. You get to choose which candidates you support through endorsements, through your volunteer efforts, and through expressing your preferences as a voice within the party. My message to you today is to make sure you exercise that choice. I encourage you to do the research, use that voice and those efforts to their fullest potential. Those choices are an expression of our values. Make sure that we're living our values by throwing our support behind candidates that support them. We're the party that supports working families. So make sure that the candidates you're supporting are looking out for working families here in Washington. Make sure at a time when medical bills are the #1 cause of bankruptcy in America, and at a time when 30 million people are uninsured in this country, that the candidates you're supporting are putting their full weight behind Medicare for all and providing health care to everyone, because health care is a human right. Yeah. We're the party that knows climate change is real. It's the great existential threat to humanity, and the time to act is now. Make sure that at a time when we have maybe a decade left to address climate change, that the candidates you're supporting are putting their full weight behind the ambition towards saving our planet, including supporting a Green New Deal. Yeah. Make sure that at a time that lack of access to affordable education is holding back so many students from realizing their full potential, that the candidates you're supporting are putting their full weight behind tuition-free college and canceling student debt. My name is Jason Call. As many of you may know, I'm running for Congress here in the 2nd District. We're building a people-powered campaign that is unabashedly progressive and puts working families at the center of our platform. I don't need to sugarcoat it for you. By all objective accounts, we're in real trouble right now. I wouldn't be up here if I seriously didn't believe that. These are unprecedented times that we live in, and while fear and inaction are a natural response to the enormous challenges that we face, we cannot continue down that road. Not anymore. We need to lead. In this moment of great peril, we've got to dig deep. We've got to stand up and confront these enormous challenges with big, bold action. We have to be courageous and ambitious enough to meet this moment with everything we've got. That's why I'm running. The old way of doing things is not going to cut it anymore. It's out of touch with the realities of 2019, and it's not going to get us where we need to be if we intend to save ourselves from any number of catastrophes. Let's face it, my opponent, the incumbent Rick Larson, is a business-friendly New Democrat. He's getting paid a lot of money to avoid these problems. His well-funded connections from his previous career as a lobbyist from the dental industry have served him well. Over the course of his nearly 2-decade tenure, he's received well north of $5 million in PAC money, much of it from enormous corporate interests. He's pulled in over $60,000 in campaign contributions specifically to avoid Medicare for all. And GovTrack US rates him the lowest in the state, one of the lowest in the country for getting bills passed and co-sponsored. In his entire 20 years, he has only been the primary sponsor of 6 bills that were enacted. He is demonstrably bad at his job. He's not listening to the concerns of the people. If you heard here, somebody asked him about the growlers, and his response was, "This is not a town hall." I'll tell you what, right here on Whidbey Island, I have a goal of reducing the military budget by half, and I will fight to reduce the impact of the growlers on the quality of life here on Whidbey Island, but on Whidbey Island, in the general area, and the impact of that the Navy has had encroaching on our environment. He doesn't even receive his mail in district. His mailing address on his voter registration is 2,800 miles away in Maryland, and he's still raking in a 6-figure congressional salary. Let me ask you something, LaConner and 10th LD Democrats. If you were managing an employee who was collecting hundreds of thousands of dollars and not producing results, how long would you keep them around? Our elected representatives work for us. We are that manager, and we have the opportunity to make some better staffing choices next November. We owe it to ourselves and our future generations to demand better. It's time. And I'm ready to get to work. As an organizer, 30 years, an activist for justice, a former public school teacher for almost 2 decades, I've been confronting powerful interests and standing up for doing the right thing for decades, including right here in the Democratic Party. I'm here asking you to get behind the systemic change that absolutely needs to happen if we're going to have a chance at ensuring a livable world and an equitable society for our children and grandchildren. I wanted to talk about Rick Larson's climate change record. I know he was up here talking about it earlier. I'm looking at an article right now that examines his congressional record. There are a number of Democrats who are called the Pro-Extinction Caucus. I'm going to read here, if the pro-extinction Democrats are to be fought, it helps to know who they are, based on a list of congressional supporters of the Green New Deal, which Rick Larson does not support, and then subsequently searching for any climate policies put forth by members of Congress who are not on that list. It's possible to get the names of people who are standing in the way of meaningful reform. I will tell you that Rick Larson is the only name from Washington State on that list. There's been a lot of talk up here about the Koch brothers. Did you know that 6 of the 7 Democrats who represent us in the House of Representatives in Washington, D.C., are part of what's called the Third Way New Democrat Coalition? You know who some of their funders are way back in the day to get that caucus started? Who's Koch brother money? Okay? I think those things need to be taken into account when we decide who is going to represent the 2nd Congressional District in 2020 and beyond. I thank you for your time, and I humbly ask for your support. Thank you.